All right, let's dive into one of the most intense, challenging, and honestly foundational narratives in the Abrahamic faiths. We're talking about the story of the binding of Isaac from Genesis chapter 22. For thousands of years, people have debated this story, they've revered it, and today we're going to unpack exactly why. It really all boils down to this one question, doesn't it? What is the ultimate test of faith? Well, this ancient story offers one of the most extreme answers you could possibly imagine. So let's get into it. So, to set the scene, this all happens after years and years of promises. Abraham and Sarah, against all odds, finally have their son Isaac. He is the miracle child, right? The heir through whom all of God's promises are supposed to be fulfilled. And it's right then, at that moment, that God decides to test Abraham. And the command is, it's just absolutely stunning. Listen to the weight of these words from the text. Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest. The language is so deliberate, so emotionally loaded, which makes that final phrase, and offer him for a burnt offering, all the more shocking. You know, what's so wild is Abraham's reaction, or I guess his lack of one. There's no argument, no pleading, no, God, are you sure? The text just lists his actions, one after the other. He gets up, he prepares, he gathers his son, and he goes. It's this immediate, deliberate, and silent obedience that's almost as unsettling as the command itself. And this wasn't some rash decision made in the heat of the moment. No, the command was followed by a long, difficult journey. We're talking 3 full days. That's a lot of time to think, a lot of time for doubt to creep in, and, frankly, plenty of time to turn back. 3 days. Can you just imagine the psychological weight of that journey? Just 3 days of walking, side by side with the son you've been told to sacrifice. The text doesn't give us any conversation, just this slow, quiet, steady march toward that mountain. And then, finally, the silence is broken. It's Isaac. Maybe he's noticing something's not quite right, and he asks the most logical and just heartbreaking question. He sees the fire, he sees the wood, but he doesn't see an animal. Where is the lamb? He asks his dad. Abraham's response has become one of the most famous declarations of faith ever. He doesn't lie to his son, but he doesn't tell him the awful truth either. He just says, "My son, God will provide." Is that a prophecy? Is it a desperate hope? Or is it just pure, unshakable trust? The text just lets that answer hang in the air as they keep walking together.
So, they leave the servants behind, and father and son arrive at the place God told them about. This is it. The moment of truth has arrived.
And just look at how this unfolds. It's so methodical, it's horrifying. Abraham doesn't rush. Step by step, he builds the altar, arranges the wood, he binds his own son and lays him on top of it, and finally, he raises the knife. He follows that command all the way to the very, very last second. And at that exact moment, you can just picture the knife about to fall. There's this sudden, dramatic intervention from heaven. An angel of the Lord calls out, stopping him cold. Lay not thine hand upon the lad. The test is over, and the reason is made crystal clear. For now I know that thou fearest God. Abraham's willingness to go all the way proved his faith was absolute. And then Abraham looks up and sees that, just like he had said, a provision had been made. The text tells us that behind him, a ram is caught in a thicket by its horns. This ram becomes the offering, the substitute sacrifice, taking Isaac's place. To commemorate this incredible moment, Abraham calls the place Jehovah Jireh, which means the Lord will provide. It's a name that forever links this spot to the central theme of the story, divine provision, right at the point of an impossible test. So the ordeal is over. Isaac is safe, but what follows isn't just relief. It's this powerful, booming reaffirmation of the covenant between God and Abraham. The angel speaks a second time, and this time, it's to deliver a massive blessing. Abraham's descendants, he's told, will be as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. They'll be victorious over their enemies, and through them, all the nations of the world will be blessed. And the text leaves absolutely no room for doubt about why this blessing is given. It's a direct result of Abraham's actions. The reward is explicitly tied to the obedience he just showed on that mountain. And the story just ends quietly. The text says Abraham returns to his servants and they all travel home together. But notice the subtle detail. They went up the mountain together, but only Abraham is mentioned as returning from the mountain. It's a small but powerful detail, leaving the emotional aftermath completely to our imagination.
And that leaves us right back where we started, with the question that has echoed through the ages. Do we see this as an unparalleled story of absolute obedience and faith, or is it a deeply troubling, even terrifying test of belief that pushes the very boundaries of morality? The power of this story is that thousands of years later, it still forces us to ask,